Good evening, everybody. Can I have everybody's attention? All right. I'd like to go ahead and get this started. I'd like to call to order the March 18th, 2025 Poquoson City Public Schools School Board meeting. Mr. Lamaghi, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for a moment of silence. Please be seated. Yesterday, we celebrated St. Patrick's Day, a day to remember the unique culture of Irish people and their significant impact on our country. Their presence in America has produced some of the greatest writers, including F. Scott Fitzgerald. In his novel, This Side of Paradise, Fitzgerald displays an understanding of personal achievement. For what it's worth, it's never too late to be whoever one wants to be. You must live a life that you're proud of. If you find that you're not, then you must have the strength to begin again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Carroll, are there any additions and/or modifications to the agenda?
We do have one addition to the agenda. The request the board to add the approval of the minutes from the work session on February 18th, 2025. These minutes were inadvertently omitted from the board packet that was sent to the board last week. The board received them today, and a hard copy of the minutes has been given to them tonight for their review. We request that you amend Section 7D of the consent agenda to read approval of minutes for February's regular meeting, work session, and special session.
Thank you. Ms. Purdy, recognitions? We've got a bunch tonight. So,
Yes, Chair Burbidge, members of the board, community members, and colleagues, thank you for being here this evening. We always have a lot to celebrate, but this particular month, it impacts a lot of people. So thank you for fitting in here. As always, once you've been recognized, if you want to stay, we invite you to stay. But if you need to leave, there's no shame in that either. You can scoot out to either exits. So before I begin with our Senior of the Month, I wanted to provide a disclaimer that I am actually not part of the selection process for our seniors. And so while I'm incredibly proud to announce this month's senior, I wanted to share that bit of information. And also, these write-ups come from our high school counseling office, so I'm not responsible for the following glowing remarks. Academically, Jude has consistently excelled in his studies, currently ranked 5 out of 155 students. His impressive GPA demonstrates his dedication and commitment to his education. His academic pursuits have also included advanced level courses such as honors, advanced placement, dual enrollment at both Poquoson High School, as well as his attendance at the Governor's School for Science and Technology. His thirst for knowledge and willingness to take on challenging coursework highlights his intellectual curiosity and drive. In addition to his academic achievements, Jude is actively involved in numerous extracurricular activities. He's a valued member of the Poquoson High School Band, participating in the Islander Marching, Concert, and Jazz Bands, as well as lending his musical talents to the Evolution Show Band Choir. Jude is also a member of the PHS Scholastic Bowl, the Excel Service Club, Chess Club, D&D Club, Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy, National Honor Society, Science National Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta Math Honor Society, and the Social Studies Honor Society Rho Kappa. His involvement extends beyond the school community as he serves as a lead altar, captain at St. Basil Orthodox Church, volunteers with PORT, which is People Offering Resources Together, and works part-time at Audubell. Additionally, Jude has been recognized with prestigious awards such as the National Rural and Small Town Award and the College Board and the AP Scholar Award. Please help me congratulating Jude Purdy as our March Student of the Month. Back in February, both the high school and middle school took 34 students to the all-district chorus event, which was hosted at the Ferguson Center at CNU's campus. They did very well there, and while attending, the following singers auditioned and were awarded state placement through the Virginia Choral Directors Association for all Virginia chorus. As I call your name, please come forward and remain up here for a picture. From our middle school, we had Amelia Ramirez, soprano 2. Peyton Schaefer, soprano 2. Kylie Cooper, alto 1. I believe could not be here due to pre-arranged extracurriculars. And then Victor Kloss, which is bass. From our high school, we had Zaina Weems, soprano 1, delegate 1. Ava Gorman, alto 1, delegate 2. And also could not be with us here tonight was Heather Jensen, soprano 1, alternate 1. Our swim team had a great season and performed very well at the state tournament. We congratulate everyone on their hard work, and especially would like to highlight Tony DeVries. Tony earned 2 state championships this year in the 200 freestyle and the 50 freestyle. On top of this, he's also maintained above a 4.0 grade point average. Please join me in congratulating Tony on his hard work and recent titles as state champion. Are either of his coaches here, Coach Daniel Berry or Coach Luke Altman? Okay. Moving on to some more state champions. Once again, PHA's track had a great season with multiple state championships as well as second place runner-up. First, we would like to congratulate Jacob Wines on being state runner-up in the 3,200 meter. Oh, wrong picture, sorry. There we go, Jacob.
Way to go, Jacob.
If you wouldn't mind staying up here, we're going to get the whole, all of the champions together. Our 4x800 relay athletes also were state runners-up and represented Poquoson very well. Congratulations to Isabella Butterfield, Ella Kreisman, Ashley Grosseth, and Elizabeth Trant. That one's hers. I checked it. This would be Elizabeth on the right. Isabella. And it looks like Ella was not able to be with us this evening, but say one more, please. So additionally, we have a repeat state champion, Elizabeth Tran, who's added more to her impressive list of state champion titles this year in the 3,200 meter as well as the 1,600 meter. Congratulations to everybody.
Good job, y'all. Congratulations.
I went so quickly, I didn't show you the beautiful images that I've created for them, so I'll go through those really quickly. And the relay team as well, yeah, holding their baton. Tonight, we are also going to recognize some of our student athletes for their accomplishments at another state tournament for PHS Wrestling. Poquoson's wrestling team had another successful season. The team posted a dual meet record of 13-2 en route to winning the regular season Bay Rivers District title and the Virginia Duels. The wrestling team also placed first at the Bay Rivers District Tournament, the Region 2A Tournament, and the AA State Championship. Of the 13 wrestlers that qualified for the state tournament this year, 11 wrestlers placed in the top 6 with a school record of 9 finalists and 4 state champions. And if you don't understand, that's amazing. It's very impressive. Now let us recognize those wrestlers who earned individual championships or runner-up in the state. As I call your name, please come forward and remain up front so that we can then get a team picture. Oops, sorry, this is another stack. Cam Harrell. Cam is a junior. He placed first in the state at the 106-pound weight class. He finished the season with a 28-5 record. He was runner-up at the Colin E. Baker Invitational, went 5-0 at the Virginia Duels, and was the Bay Rivers District Champion and Region 2A runner-up. Did I accidentally, Cam? Do you have Braden's? Yeah. I'm so sorry. We have a lot. I apologize. That's my fault. Thank you. Braden Bunting. Braden is a junior. He placed second in state at the 113-pound weight class. Braden's record this year was 25-9. He went 4-1 at the Virginia Duels, taking first in the Bay Rivers District Tournament and the Region 2A Tournament. Logan Kesey. A junior, Logan placed second in state at the 120-pound weight class. Logan's record this year was 29-9. He went 5-0 at the Virginia Duels, taking first in the Bay Rivers District Tournament and the Region 2A Tournament. Jared Goodson. Jared is a junior and claimed his 3rd state title. Jared wrestled this year in the 132 weight class. He took first at Colony Baker and Ocean Lakes Invitational. Jared won 4-1 at the Virginia Duels, finished second at the Windsor, New York Christmas Classic. It was Bay Rivers District and Region 2 champion. Brian Lauda. Also a junior, Brian brought home his 2nd state championship this year in the 144 weight class. Brian posted a record of 37-4 this season and also took first place at the Colony Baker Invitational, won 5-0 at the Virginia Duels, finished second at the Windsor, New York Christmas Classic, and was Bay Rivers District and Region 2A champion. Reed Booth. Reed is a junior who also brought home his 2nd state championship. This year in the 150 weight class. Reed had a season record of 35-3 and took first place at the Colony Baker and Ocean Lakes Invitationals. Finished second at the Windsor, New York Christmas Classic, was a Bay Rivers and Region 2A tournament champion. Christian Leonard. Christian is a senior who placed second in state in the 165 weight class. Christian's record this year was 29-8. He went 3-1 at the Virginia Duels, taking first in the Bay Rivers District Tournament and the Region 2A Tournament. It's also exciting to note that Christian will be attending VMI in the fall. Nathaniel Cross. Nate is a junior who placed second in the state at the 175 weight class. Nate's record this year was 25-15, and he finished the year strong by taking first place at both the Bay Rivers District Tournament and the Region 2A Tournament. Austin Conley. Austin is a junior who placed second in the state at the 190 weight class. Austin's record this year was 30-10. He placed second at the Colony Baker Invitational and first at the Ocean Lakes Invitational. He went 4-1 at the Virginia Duels, taking first in the Bay Rivers District Tournament and second at the Region 2A Tournament. Now I'm going to ask that the following wrestling members come forward as I call your names to join us for a team photo. Kason Atkins. Braden Agnes. also finished third, which is nothing to shirk at. Jacob Heidemann. Nathan Heidemann. Jaden Lincor. Nehemiah Owens. Keith Reynolds. Keegan Webb. I hope I say this name correctly. I should have asked. Kaylee Zerby. Did I say that right? Tell me how to say it. How do I say it? Kale. I apologize. I should have asked. That's my fault. Oh, now don't poke fun at my mistake. I said his name correctly. Thank you, Kale. Howie Wainwright. Preston Bundy. Derek Kennedy. I also want to recognize their coach, Eric Decker. And assistant coaches, Kendall Rydnor, Mike McCormick, Scott Brown. Is Mr. Brown here? Ross Graham. Richard Harrell. Patrick McCormick. And Donald Booth. Okay, we're going to try to squeeze everybody into an image. I'm going to have you guys scooch down and form 2 rows.
Me and Charles, like I did it for our picture night. Got them out of there quick.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That might be the last one. I feel so bad. The last thing I wanted to mention as they exit, I don't know if you noticed that many of those were juniors. So we expect great things next year for our juniors as they're seniors.
No pressure.
No pressure. That concludes our recognitions for the evening.
Okay, I think everybody's cleared out now. For presentations and reports for the instructional update, Ms. Hyde?
Like I said to Ms. Purdy, that's a tough act to follow, so I will do my best. But we also have some amazing students as part of this presentation as well. So, good evening, members of the school board, superintendent, community members, and colleagues. This evening, I will be presenting an overview of career and technical education in Poquoson City Public Schools. As we know, CTE is an educational pathway that equips students with academic knowledge, technical skills, and hands-on experience in various career fields. CTE programs prepare students for college, careers, and certifications by integrating core academic subjects with real-world applications. These programs often include work-based learning experiences, industry certifications, and dual enrollment opportunities. And we just wanted to highlight that Poquoson City Public Schools was highlighted on the VDOE newsletter for in March. February, we're a month behind, sorry, with budget. February was CTE month, and so they highlighted this photo, which showcases this display created at the high school to show the impact of career and technical education. Teachers shared what they wanted to be when they were younger and the skills they learned in high school that they still use today, and students filled out hearts sharing what they love about their CTE courses. CTE courses are offered at the middle and high school levels. At the middle school, we currently offer technical education, foundations of communication, inventions and innovations, technological systems, computer applications and keyboarding, and introduction to coding and programming computer solutions. As students advance to high school, their opportunities expand significantly, allowing them to explore a wide range of interests, career paths, and post-secondary options. Our course offerings reflect this growth, providing students with access to specialized programs that align with their passions and future aspirations. For example, students interested in public service can explore criminal justice, gaining insights into law enforcement, legal studies, and forensic science. And those with a creative eye may pursue fashion marketing, which blends business principles and with design and merchandising. For students considering careers in education, as we talked about before, Teachers of Tomorrow provides hands-on experience and early exposure to the teaching profession, while engineering and drawing supports those with interest in STEM fields, equipping them with technical skills applicable to architecture, product design, and mechanical engineering. And those are just a few examples of the many opportunities they have available at the high school level. Of course, Poquoson City Public School students have access to a variety of career and technical education courses through our partnership with New Horizons Career and Technical Education Center. And these courses provide hands-on industry-relevant training that prepares students for both post-secondary and immediate career opportunities. As you can see, our students have access to courses covering health sciences, public safety, and various trades. So the real stars of the show is we will have some students sharing with us their work in CTE tonight. But here we have, and someone's going to have to hit that video for me back there. No sound, but we know what's happening. Of course, we have some welding going on, and also pictured here is students in welding courses at New Horizons: Samantha Esposito, Valentino Batista, Justin Shantz, and Cole Rivingham. And so we wanted to share some numbers for CTE as well. In the middle school alone, we have over 230 enrollments in our CT courses, while at the high school, we have over 420 enrollments in CTE courses. Additionally, 49 students are currently enrolled in specialized CTE programs at New Horizons, where they have access to that advanced training in high-demand fields. These programs offer not only technical skill development, but also industry-recognized certifications that can lead directly to employment opportunities. Beyond traditional CTE courses, many of our students also take advantage of dual enrollment opportunities, earning both high school and college credit simultaneously. And here we have pictured the criminal justice visits the Eastern State Penitentiary, DECA members at a competition, Sports marketing, the virtual meet with the Savannah Bananas coach. We know that's very popular. And the PMS CTE students Lego Build Challenge. All right. So tonight we're going to highlight 3 of our students. PHS Engineering and Drawing with Brandon Milner, New Horizons Physical and Occupational Therapy Chloe Dunn, and New Horizons HVAC Ian Price. So I'll allow them to come up, and they have some slides and a presentation to share with you as well. This advances your slide. You can also flip my book to see what comes next as well.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brandon Milner, as you may have already known, and I'm here to talk to you about our SNAME boat competition this year. So, the goal of SNAME is to design a boat that will eventually become an actual model, which is built by the Newport News Shipbuilding Company. And so, the design process that we had to follow, the engineering design process. So we first start out with our initial design, which we try to make it similar to a catamaran design, which is what it's currently based off of. So at this stage, we were beginning to learn the program called AutoCAD Inventor, which is the program we use to pretty much make a 2D design become a 3D model. And this is initially what we came up with. So here's a few of our designs that we have come up with. And these designs are obviously flawed in their own way. But we began to just pretty much work out what we could actually make our final design with. So one of the steps that is used to figure out the final design of the boat is to figure out the calculations for each part of the boat. So here is a spreadsheet of the boat, and what AutoCAD Inventor does is actually can predict what the weight and vertical center of gravity could be, as well as the vertical momentum and other stuff like that for the boat. It also gives measurements and accurate weight for other parts of the boat, such as the battery or propulsion motor of the boat. So right here is our final design of the boat. Our initial design is very similar to what the final design of the boat is, but we also added a few other parts that actually makes the boat function, such as the battery, propulsion motor, and I forgot what it's called, but yeah. That's it.
Hi, my name is Chloe Dunn, and I attend the afternoon physical and occupational therapy program at New Horizons. First, I'd like to say how honored I am to be chosen to speak on behalf of this program, so thank you. New Horizons has given me the opportunity to gain knowledge about a career that I'd like to pursue in college. In fact, it has helped confirm that decision for me. This program has allowed me to gain a wealth of knowledge which I feel will give me an advantage or a head start in college. Not only has this class taught me about physical and occupational therapy, it's also allowed me to learn valuable qualities to succeed in the workforce. In fact, weekly we're graded on our employability. Additionally, I'll be able to come out of this program with a certification in physical and occupational therapy as an aide. Lastly, this class is very hands-on and immersive. We do many lab practicals which we're graded on. These practicals include performing medical procedures on each other. For example, we do things such as proper uses of assistive devices, the proper use of modalities, so like heat and cold therapy, the testing of each other's range of motion, and we even take each other's blood pressure and heart rates. So that being said, I'd highly recommend this program to any students interested in PT and OT.
Hello, my name is Ian Price. I have enjoyed my year at New Horizons a lot. During my year, I have been working with my teacher as a Skills USA participant and got first place in the district and will be going to states to compete. During this process, you will learn more in depth of how systems work and why problems get fixed the way they do. During my process of getting ready for skills, it has been a lot of work in and outside of the classroom. This helped me prepare a lot more because if I had any questions, my teacher was there by my side the entire time, helping me grasp what I couldn't grasp before. Also, throughout my year, I have had the opportunity to participate in various hands-on activities that include building and repairing HVAC systems, learning how to braze copper pipes, and the correct way to wire up a system while making it look good. Finally, while going through the process, I have learned how to properly use gauges, vacuum a system, recover refrigerant, and have completely set up an HVAC system that works and will be used by the class to give them hands-on training, and will also help them learn the proper repair processes to help them in the field. I am very thankful for the opportunities I have been given.
The great thing about being an educator is you have so many students to be proud of, as if you were their parent, you know? And just to see all the awards tonight and hear these students speak, thank you, Chloe, thank you, Ian, for coming out tonight. Sorry, getting my pages right. Thank you, Brandon, and we really appreciate your time, and we're so proud of you and all the work that you're doing. I want to say thank you to Kim Montalvo, who is our Director of Accountability and also oversees CTE, for helping bring this presentation together tonight, and also happy birthday. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hyde. For our operations update, Mr. Roberts.
Good evening, and I think that was a tougher act to follow. Congrats to all those students. I think that we can employ some of those, especially the HVAC. I would love to have my hands on some of those students. Anyways, quick update today. First, starting out with food services. Last month, I kind of briefly explained our FPAR process, and that we did have some findings and technical assistance items that required an action plan. We submitted those to VDOE, which were approved just here recently. One thing that we'll be bringing to your attention for approval in April is some amendments to or additions to our wellness policy. We need to add some things for goals, which is a good thing because we just need to make our wellness policy a little bit more robust with specific goals for student and staff wellness. So we'll present those to you. I'll be meeting with those committees between now and then to create those goals. USDA audit will also be conducted at the end of this month. It's very similar to the process that we just went through. That process was VDOE. This one is USDA. So a lot of regulation, a lot of formal processes there. So, all right, continuing our conversation on the recruit, grow, and retain. Like I shared last month, we go to the traditional job fairs. There's a couple more that I attended, Radford, JMU, and we also did a coffee talk with some military folk to try to recruit. We're updating our postings and getting ready to launch that marketing, the videos that we release at local businesses that kind of air and loop. We're also exploring grant-funded opportunities, kind of the Grow Your Own grants, and also some pre-apprentice programs for our students that take our teacher cadet courses. So we have been in discussions with a couple of different universities to see what their offerings are. And again, as we get more knowledge, we're going to keep you updated and try to make that something that we can recruit and grow our own there with those processes. And then, of course, the superintendent's proposed budget and MAG study will definitely help all three of those things to recruit, grow, and retain if approved and funded. So just a little summary. That is a live picture of, I think, the fair that I was at Radford of our booth. Saw a lot. I'm still reaching out to those I interviewed and spoke to, so hopefully we'll land some of those young teachers. All right, safety and security. The safety committee that meets monthly, we're really focusing on those strategic camera placements that's been recommended. Looking to fund those shortly, working with Josh Montalvo to try to get those ordered and placed. Tabletop discussions continue. We've really done a great job, in my opinion, with the lockdown procedures this past month. We've held all the drills for each of the schools, and we've had great discussions, highlighted some needs that we've discovered, and we've made some adjustments already that I think is making us safer. We'll have the active shooter and safe haven discussions this month, which will hopefully lead to a full exercise next. So that would include going off site, safe havens, and all that things of that nature. So looking forward to that. All right, so transportation. I know this is something I continue to bring to your attention. Our two new sub-drivers are almost at the end of their training. They are doing van trips, helping out just when we need subs. So they are being active during their training, but we're almost at the end, so we should see two new sub-drivers hit the road very shortly. But like I said, they're already helping out doing van runs when needed for subs. Our GPS driver training is tomorrow in our in-service with our bus drivers. What that will give them is a refresher course for those veterans that are coming back with the tablet on the bus that's required to give the app to the parents. So basically it's their GPS. Anytime they stop, the student pictures will flash up to confirm who should be going off that stop or who should be getting picked up in the mornings. Which is, the refresher, that's hugely beneficial just because of sub runs, the combination runs that we have to do for those sub drivers. So that training was tomorrow. We're also waiting on the Sydney ordinance. They're going to work with us to create one for those stop cam arm cameras that will catch, the violations that will also give us some additional bus cameras inside the camera, give us those live feeds and those cloud storage capabilities, which we're looking forward to. So, we're going to start piloting as soon as we get comfortable with all this technology that we're installing on the buses and the systems with some parents with that app, hopefully in the next couple of months to start full implementation by next year, but hopefully we'll be able to see more and more buses on this pilot as we go through the year. And of course, we're ordering buses. We've got 4 on the docket now, 1 special needs bus, and 3 more 77 passenger buses to look at. So got quotes on all those, getting ready to see if we can't go to purchase very, very shortly. All right, and this is a topic that I've received a lot of requests for information on. We did send out a Parrot Square message there a little bit ago, and it was due to the Power School data breach back in December. So when that first initially happened and we had knowledge of it, we sent out a message saying, hey, we've recognized this. This is something Power School is going through. Once we know more, we'll let you know more, and Power School will be reaching out. Well, they finally did. They sent the mass email to all those that were impacted. And then we followed that up with the Power Square message that basically stated, if you have questions with the actual information Power School sent, one, it is legitimate. So, if you did receive that information, that is their support to you. If you have questions on that, do contact them with the numbers that they have provided. If you receive something in error, please do reach out. We did send that link to Let's Talk through the Parent Square message, or you can email me directly either way, but there is a category in Let's Talk that you can report those errors. And what I'm doing with those errors is reporting them directly to Power School with a ticket. So if you received an email from Power School that stated names of children that are not yours, let me know through the Let's Talk or directly, and I will put that ticket in to get that resolved. And whenever they give me updates, that's when I'll give them back to the people who reach out. So it is legitimate. Please do follow those instructions. It does give you some protection for your credit for 2 years with the programs that they've selected. Okay? And unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
I had a couple questions with the Power School data breach.
Go ahead.
I was able to review the contract that Ms. Spence sent. And thank you for that. Finally, it was, I asked an hour later. It was in my email box. So there's just some language in there, and I compared it to some different districts too. One of them is really the indemnification that Power School has. One of them is that it says 10.2 indemnification by the customer. So it says that the customer has to defend Power School and its affiliates and their directors. So is that something where, are we contractually obligated to have to say Power School is fine? We can't sit there and say negative things about them because of the data breach? Because that's how I read that part of the contract.
No, and I mean, just to be clear, Power School was pretty good coming up front, just saying, hey, this one is on us, and we got our legal representation, involved to make sure that we were protected and working with them, and they were pretty prompt as far as saying, hey, we're going to get the information to those that we know they're impacted, and if there's any mistakes along the way, let us know and put in a ticket. So that's kind of the path we've followed, if that answers your question on that one.
But the response is in the contract too, and it's very boilerplate of saying they could be pretty vague on what your information was compromised. They don't even have to get into it. And if you look at some of the deeper districts or some of the stories have come out that people have gotten this stuff earlier, that it was, special education records, educational records, social security numbers. I know it's not stuff on our end, but
sure.
I think as a customer service component that, I think it just seems like we're just saying, hey, whatever they say is fine, and we don't have, there's no recourse for you other than the monitoring. So I don't know if it's time to look at different components. And I looked at Virginia Beach, they have a policy where they can't sign a contract that says there's indemnification in it. They go with parent view. So I don't know if there's things down the road we need to look at to hold them accountable to say, we don't have to, you're not the only game in town, or,
Sure.
We don't like your response, we can switch or what.
I'll just address a couple of those points. One, we don't have to use Power School, so the Poquoson School has been a client of Power School for many, many years, and it's if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about this, it is the largest, if not one of the largest data companies in the world, and certainly in the United States. Many whole states buy Power School as their tool for school systems to use, the only tool. So this is just one in the Commonwealth. We do have the option to choose our data systems, and there are a plethora of companies out there that do this same kind of work. We've already started looking at the availability of companies out there. As a matter of fact, we're going to another school division, a team from here, not primarily to look at that, but this is another school division that uses one of the next top flight companies in the country that provide this service, and they also consolidate this service with a lot of other services that we pay separate vendors for, like School Dude and Edmentum and
Ed handbook.
Educator's Handbook, and also the other big ticket item is Frontline, which is all of our HR systems operate under another company. So there are companies that do pieces of this, and then there are companies that do the whole package. So we're actually investigating those things so that it's not, we're not married to Power School, so to speak. And like I said, some states, they require all of the data to be housed through one system. Virginia does allow you to shop that product, and we are looking at that. Back to the contracts, we do require our attorneys to review all contracts before we sign them, and this was reviewed originally by the attorneys. And of course, we have re-upped that contract multiple times, as has most of the school divisions around use Power School. I have an idea now. There's a major lawsuit that some of you may be aware of that was probably the first of many from this particular data breach, since it's a very large company with a lot of clients. And this is, I think, filed from somewhere out in Wisconsin or somewhere. So we'll follow that case closely and see if there's any merits to that case. They find that Power School is liable for some things, then my guess is there'll be some class action beyond that. But just a thought on that topic. That's probably a ways down the road.
I tried to go back. Is this a contract that's like the dollar figure is not so much that we don't have to approve it? Because I couldn't go back, and you know how sometimes it says we have to approve the food vendor or athletic vendor. I couldn't find one that said we had to approve Power School.
You don't. It is one of those vendors that are part of the operational side of the house, and we approve those vendors. We have contracts with probably 20 or 30 vendors doing similar work.
Follow-up, is that contract yearly, or is it an extended contract? Do you know when this contract currently?
I don't know off the top of my head, Andrew. Do you know if it's an annual contract or
may know more about
multiple
that one, but
multi-year
I think
contract?
It's a year.
Annual?
It's a
It is an
year,
annual
It
contract.
said 2024 on this contract.
And another question, I know you said they sent the emails directly to the parents of students who were affected. Did they give the district any kind of ballpark number of how many students were affected within the district?
Yes.
They did the staff specifically, but the ballpark for the students, they give us just a ballpark. It wasn't an exact from them, but they guaranteed us that they would reach out to the ones they knew that were impacted. And if there were errors, to let them know, and that's what we've done so far. Yep.
Is it possible to get a list at sort of the administrative level of who these parents are, or who the kids compromised?
Sure, yeah. I mean, they have that in their possession. We could get that, yes.
Can you request it? And
Yes.
just to make sure that we've gotten everyone accounted for?
Sure.
I know they provided the numbers to contact Power School, but did they give out a website where parents can go and verify if their kids were specific themselves?
Yeah, I'll have to dig into that specifically, but that is a good suggestion. Yep.
Just one last question. I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but as far as for our students, do you have any idea in your conversations with Power School what information was compromised? Was it?
Right. The version we got from Power School was for student records was just mainly directory information. There could have been some data associated with health, but it would just be the brief things that would be in the Power School, like when a teacher gets on there or somebody that needs to know. It's just short, little brief statements. But past that, it wasn't anything more than directory information.
So no testing information
No,
or
that's not in the
some of
student
things
table that was
Dr. Goodell
compromised.
was talking about, as far as
That was the larger, when you can read, because it was a nationwide breach, some of the earlier ones that I found out have been told it was, educational records or discipline records and, whatever. They're just the vendor. Whatever you throw in there is what people can have access to. So whatever the school uses, grades, discipline records, or social security numbers, we put social security numbers on our side. That was a good thing on our side that we don't have that.
For the student
issue.
side, no, definitely not. And it was just the student table and the teacher table. So to your point, it was whatever was contained in those tables. So,
thank you.
yep. Any additional questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Yep.
Hey, Ms. Carroll, do we have any public comment?
We do. We have 2 speakers today.
Okay. I'm going to read the public comment statement. The Poquoson School Board welcomes public comment during regular meetings. School board members do not respond to public comment during a meeting. All comments should address a matter related to Poquoson Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment that involves an individual student-related matter, the disclosure of which would violate applicable confidentiality requirements. The school board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectfully disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, a staff member, or the audience. Speakers are encouraged not to engage in personal attacks. Speakers will present their comments from the podium. To follow school board policy, time allotted to speakers shall be 3 minutes.
First speaker is Allison Varakis from Warnham Farm Road.
Evening. My name is Allison Varakis. I have 2 children who attend Poquoson Primary School. I recently sent you all an email to express my concerns regarding safety, protocol, and lack of resources, and felt it necessary to bring it to the floor tonight for all to hear. My hopes are that the Board of Education will evaluate and set more responsible and realistic protocols in place moving forward to address when there are disruptive and unsafe behaviors by students in a classroom. To give the kids who are in the general classroom environment a chance to learn in a positive and safe space, but also to identify where is a good place or solution to accommodate the kids who may have behaviors but cannot thrive in the traditional classroom environment. Because of the rules, I'm going to try to ad-lib on this. There was a child in one of my son's classrooms that was extremely disruptive over the last few months, displaying dangerous behaviors to himself and others, disrespectful with his actions and words to school staff and students, and at times abusive, and I witnessed him hit a staff member, chasing kids around the classroom, forcing them to run for cover and have to hide in order to stay safe. What was more disturbing was that despite displaying these unsafe behaviors that he did, he continued to be reintroduced into the classroom with the expectations that things would improve. They did not. I understand that there needs to be documentation of behaviors before protocols can be implemented for each child, but surely there must be exceptions to that. There are protocols and resources in place, but they don't seem to be available fast enough. The student rights state that every student is entitled to an orderly school and classroom environment which will allow optimum learning, emphasizing the values of responsibility, kindness, fairness, and safety. In my opinion, and based on my observations in the school, it's because they do not have the proper resources to handle situations such as these. I want you to know that while I greatly appreciate the board's prompt response to my email, I still have many concerns. I know you cannot discuss individual student matters due to FERPA, and I also recognize that when it comes to students that are outlined in the Individual Disabilities Act, that there are tricky areas to work through. However, the moment that safety is not established in a classroom, then there should not be a question. I know that there are other parents that share this concern that could not be here tonight, so I'm representing the voice of many. But the ask here is not hard. Please keep our kids safe. Establish the proper resources to respond to situations such as these, and more importantly, get the resources in place to help these kids who are struggling and to help the administration handle them. A reset room is simply a temporary fix. There needs to be an environment for these kids that can thrive in a traditional classroom environment, but there also needs to be an environment for these kids who cannot. If things keep going the way they are, they will not end positive.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
It's 3 minutes.
I'm sorry. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Next speaker is Emily McCarley from Roberts Landing.
Thank you. the opportunity to speak today. I too am here with the concern of safety in the classroom. My daughter is in a different classroom from Allison's, but we have the same concern with different children being disruptive in the classrooms. The classroom has been evacuated on multiple occasions because of one student who my daughter was witnessing throwing desks, throwing chairs, and the metal water bottle that she brings to school every day was thrown across the room so hard that it was dented. It was full of water, and I cannot even imagine what would have happened if that had hit a child. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. My daughter had a really rough year last year and had to go to the ER for the same issue 3 times. She got surgery for that issue in January on her leg. And a child in her classroom, 3 weeks after that surgery, kicked her in that leg because of behavior issues that this child has that we have voiced concerns on repeatedly since October. The child simply gets removed from the classroom, put in the reset room, and put right back in. We can do better than this, and we have to do better than this. My daughter's mental safety is not being addressed. Her physical safety clearly not being addressed. But her mental safety, she was scared to go back to school for 8 days because she thought that if she got hit again, she would have to go back to the hospital for a 5th time to address this issue. As Allison said, we do not have the proper resources in place to support these children who have behavioral issues. I have a background in recreation therapy, and I am well aware, having worked in a community-based setting with people with developmental disabilities, that they need to be included, but they need the resources available that can support them, and the general education classroom for these specific children are not it. The adaptive classroom is not it. There's no middle ground right now that we have to support these children while also protecting the safety of those in the general classroom and in the adaptive classroom. So something needs to be done, and we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Other comments?
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to item 7, the consent agenda, but we need to do I need to read a modification of the agenda. So this will be, I guess we'll go through its item D. So item A is approval of financial reports. Item B is authorization to change appropriation and to accept and expend funds in accordance with attached request. Item C is approval of personnel action. And item D, this is where we have an amendment. The original was to approve minutes for February's regular meeting and special session, but we need to amend section 7D of the consent agenda to read approval of minutes for February's regular meeting, work session, and special session. So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Carroll, can we have the vote, please?
Mr. Claude?
Aye.
Vice Chair DeBose?
Aye.
Dr. Goodell?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll. Okay, moving on to Section 8, Other Matters for Consideration. The first item is consideration of approval of the adoption of AP Psychology textbooks for Poquoson High School. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of the AP Psychology textbook?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Carroll, can we have the vote, please?
Mr. Claude?
Aye.
Vice Chair DeBose?
Aye.
Dr. Goodell?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 6-0.
Okay, moving along to item 8B is consideration of approval of proclamation for Military Child of the Month and Week of the Young Child. Can I get a motion to approve this consideration?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Ms. Carroll, the vote, please.
Mr. Claude?
Aye.
Vice Chair DeBose?
Aye.
Dr. Goodell?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 6-0.
Oh, I guess it was a double here, I guess. So item 8C is consideration of approval of proclamation for Week of the Young Child. Is that a repeat of item B or? Okay, all right. Anyway, can I have, I guess, a motion to approve consideration of proclamation for Week of the Young Child?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Carroll, the vote.
Mr. Claude?
Aye.
Vice Chair DeBose?
Aye.
Dr. Goodell?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll. That moves us on to Section 9. This is a public hearing on the superintendent's proposed budget for FY26. Ari, do you want to take over on that?
Yes, I'm going to tee it up for Ms. Spence, who will come up and share the updates from the budget for FY26 that was presented at the February meeting. I know you all have had ample time to pour through that budget. We've had some individual sessions with board members to discuss questions, and I found those sessions to be very productive and helpful myself to review pieces of this very comprehensive budget. As well, as you know, we have a meeting scheduled on Monday night, joint meeting with City Council to go through our budget proposal with our funding partners. So we're looking forward to that very much, 6 o'clock in this room. We encourage the public to join us. But there are a few slight updates, as we have shared over and over again. The budget process is organic. The General Assembly has finalized their work and sent their final budget for FY26 to the Governor's office. We anticipate some back and forth still on the budget to be resolved, and then hopefully a approval of the budget early this year. So as you know, we've had years in the recent past where that budget drug on until post-summer. So we're hopeful not to have that with this budget this year. It's looking positive. In addition, as we shared with the budget presentation, there were several bills still in the budget negotiation in the General Assembly at the time. Those budget bills that would generate additional state revenue for Poquoson schools survived the budget and are still there, which is really good news. Now, if the governor signs those, it will be official, and we will be adjusting the budget ask for the city. And as you remember, and Tracy will get into the details of this, those particular numbers we had designed to come directly away from the request for the funding portion from the city. So the budget is designed that way, and each piece of that, those funds would come off of the request from the city, but also the budget is designed to have adjustment in that comp study piece as our primary negotiating area, so to speak, the area that we would adjust our budget again through an amendment in the April or May meeting if need be. So without further ado, Tracy, it's all you.
Good evening, Chair Burbidge, members of the school board, Mr. Tillett, the school community. I'm going to briefly discuss what is included in the conference report that the House and the Senate, when they ended on February 22nd, where they landed. They both had it in both their separate reports, and they came together. They both support funding for the repeal of the support cap, which, as well as additional SPED revenue. The potential additional funding for Poquoson City Public Schools is approximately $493,000, which we're very hopeful that this will pass, and the governor will sign it. The House and Senate, as I mentioned earlier, they released their information on the 6th, came together on the 22nd. However, our 26 budget is developed based on the governor's budget, was released in 2024. Initially, the superintendent's proposed budget allocated state funding of $225,000 for bonuses, which were included in both the House and the Senate budget proposals for payment in September. Be funded in 1 year, paid another. However, since it's changed now, they've got the House and the Senate have both said, let's fund this in this current fiscal year. Since they've done that, we have reduced our budget by $363,500, comprised of local funding of $138,500, and of course the state funding. So in the amended proposed budget that we're voting on tonight, our ask from the city has been reduced by that $138,500. The only change is getting rid of the bonuses. Nothing else has changed. With the projected ADM still holding at 2,057, and in the last month's ADM projections were still holding true, there is a projected net increase in state funding of approximately $620,000. And these are the components. You'll see that they had the increase in compensation supplement of $300,000 and $400,000 and hold harmless. There was a decrease in SOQ funding of $333,000, but the lottery funds, what happens between those things, they kind of, when one goes up, the other goes down. Not proportionately, but it just depends on how the ADM's running. It goes down to $620 increase. In addition to that, we've had a net decrease of federal grants of $39,000, and then it's showing increase in city support of $1,487,697. It was $1,626,000. It's been reduced by the $138,500 for bonuses. As reviewed in the February board meeting, we recommend adopting the comp study suggestions from Management Advisory Group, along with the governor's 3% salary increase. We compared, as we've mentioned, our salaries of PCPS staff to those of other school districts. And Management Advisory Group has outlined the costs required to align our pay plan with the regional market average. We also, in response to ongoing recruitment and retention challenges, the school bus drivers and aides, there's an additional $3 per hour pay increase, as well as an adjustment to the minimum run rate. So our net projected cost increase related to compensation alone is almost $2.1 million. As far as this is primary increases, including the comp study, we have dual enrollment, Canvas software, and certification licensure of $115. Projected additional costs related to SPED purchases services of $89. Fully funding AP testing of $40. Materials, supplies, along with the athletic expenses at a little over $70,000. And then these other few items adding to $2.5 million. We scrubbed the budget and found decreases that could be done compared to the FY25 original budget. New Horizons has gone down $123,000 based on our projected enrollment, or our slots, I should say. Textbooks has gone down 54,000, as long as some other, I'm not going to go through each one of these things. But capital outlay, we really scrubbed that because I don't know, for those individuals who are on board last year, we did quite a bit in capital outlay for the getting our operational maintenance and operation infrastructure up. So decreased 456,000. So this is just the snapshot. It reflects a 6.7% increase as a whole of about $2 million. That is, as Mr. Tillett said, we put all our ducks in one basket. That's basically, we ran flat in our operations. Non-compensation related operational cost is all in that comp package. So this just shows how we came to it. As far as if we had revenue increase of 560, expenditure increase of $2 million, that goes to our ask from the city. Oh goodness, this didn't quite go right. Okay, so there is a this budget has about 1.5 million asked from the city. I'm sorry, it kind of went off the end here, but our current funding request for the city is $1,487,697. If we get the additional state revenue, that was like my second slide that we discussed, of about $493,000, and we're projecting, we had in our current budget, it's 24% increase for our health insurance. We think it's going to land about 17%. That's going to give us a savings of about 147. So if those three things, the planets all line up, like hopefully they do, we're going to be asking from the city about $847,000. So, okay. And as Mr. Tillett mentioned, there's going to be a joint work session next Monday where this will be shared as well. City. Some miscellaneous items I just wanted to mention on the pay plan. There was for grade 108 secretary, the max, none of these affect the budget, by the way, it's just the pay plan. The max salary range was adjusted, and then I also added a grade for the speech language pathology assistant. I did want to note I did have a question from a individual in the community about in your budget on page 45 for the board, and it had approximately, I had about $30,000 for the board salaries, where last year was $3,000, and they were asking why, and I said, yeah, that's a good ask. I inadvertently had transposed the numbers between the board and the clerk, so I just wanted to mention that. You'll see that in the amended proposed. All right. So, questions?
I did have one question. So
Sure.
in your Planets Aligned budget, ask for the city is $847,000.
Yes.
How does that compare to the ask from the city last year?
600-ish. 600.
Another point that we have discussed, we generally run about 31% of the city's overall budget. So that is kind of a moving a target, from the city side. So that generates a certain amount of money, and that number increases. Just something to chew.
That that Planet Align number is not far off from inflation.
That's exactly right. That's one of the things we noted is that this new number is very reachable now. The other number was ambitious. We realized that, and we discussed it at length in the work session. But this new number, if this gets signed by the governor, is really good news from my perspective.
No questions. Thank you, I guess, is all I have to say. Clearly, this has been a huge effort. Tracy, Artie, all the people that were involved from the various schools whoever had input into it, I think it's just an outstanding job. I personally feel like we are absolutely doing the right compensation study. I hope that as a result of that, the retain, the grow, the recruit, all of that will be positively affected. And even some of the other things that have been mentioned tonight will help with that. But I know, based on what you just explained to us, that like the insurance going from 24% to 17%, to me that's a pretty big decrease. And when you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars, and being able to go to the city now, hopefully, and we've cut that, may have decreased that as well. Just an outstanding job, and I just want to say that, all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Claude. Appreciate those comments. I do want to, I know I'm not supposed to be checking my phone during a live school board meeting, but we have from a staff member a question that we need to clarify in the budget. The bonuses are still in this budget.
It's in another year.
They're in another year, this current year. And that was done actually by the General Assembly in their final agreed budget. That the budget, the bonuses that they would contribute the SOQ portion of would be paid in FY25, not 26. So the date of that, will work out whether it's the end of this school year, beginning of the next school year, but it has to be paid with FY25 funds. Is that correct? So we will be using vacancy savings funds from FY25 for the roughly $138,000 portion. And that reduces it from the request from the city FY26 budget. So just for clarification for the general public, I'm glad teachers are watching out there.
Definitely.
I have just a question or clarification. Say when this budget is approved, some of the planets don't align, and we have to revisit. What is that process? I know we approve it, and then it doesn't seem like we revisit it again. It seems like the negotiations work itself out over the summer, and you start August, it might be a little different than it looks right now, how you approve it. Can you talk through how
Very
that
good
works?
question, and I can talk about this
ahead,
briefly,
take it ahead.
and then the expert will maybe clear it up. The good news is this budget is appearing to be on the way to resolution quickly, whereas last year and the previous year, all of that stuff was happening over the summer. And so if there's an adjustment, when there's an adjustment signed by the governor, we will come back to this board either in the April meeting or the May meeting and amend the budget accordingly. So if it turns out to be all of those numbers you saw, if they come to fruition, then we'll come back and the adjusted budget that you will send to the city, it's already sent because we have to do that by March, by the end of this month. We will send them our budget. But if the budget changes, this board will approve that change and send it back to the city. Did that clarify? And usually that's the way it's supposed to work, but unfortunately the last two budget cycles, we didn't get that information until the year FY25 was already closed. And then we have to go through carryover with the city. That money actually has to go back to the funding partner by the 30th of June by statute, and then we request it back. As you recall, we usually deal with that in an August or September meeting when we talk about carryover funds. Fortunately, in this situation, we should have this budget resolved prior to the summer.
And I just want to mention one thing. I just as well want to thank everyone that helped with this budget. It truly was 100% effort of all members, people that you see here, during the board meetings, a lot that you don't see, and everyone was, you could tell, were very thoughtful in their request and very deliberate, and they met all the deadlines and everything, so it made the process so much easier. So thank everyone for that.
All right, I've got one last question.
Sure.
I guess for the members of the community, parents or teachers who rather than sit open for the governor's action. Can you give us like a brief summary of what we would contact the governor and ask him to sign as is? Or can we put that up on the website?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
How about we do that? We'll communicate it with the school board directly, and then we'll also do it on the website. How about that? Yeah. Thank you.
And lastly, before we go to a vote, I want to, in addition to Tracy's gratefulness and thanking the very many people who have contributed to this budget, and that is all absolutely true. But the lion's share of this work falls on the shoulders of our CFO, who does an incredible job. She knows this process inside and out, not only from the school side, but from the city side, having worked on that side of the budget for many, many years. So I want to again publicly thank Tracy Spence for this incredible budget work that started, the beginning of the year, and has also included a comprehensive compensation study and all the legwork that happens back and forth through that process, looking at literally every single job description and having to make sure that that matches with our competitors and counterparts around the region. So thank you, Tracy, for great work.
So, Mr. Tillett, are we moving on to item B now? Okay. All right. Item 9B is consideration of approval of superintendent's proposed budget for FY26. Can I get a motion to approve the FY26 superintendent's proposed budget?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Ms. Carroll, can we have the vote, please?
Mr. Claude?
Aye.
Vice Chair DeBose?
Aye.
Dr. Goodell?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell? Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. All right, moving along to item 10, communication and/or other matters by school board and/or superintendent. Mr. Lamaghi?
Absolutely. The reports from Poquoson City Public Schools. First, from the primary school. Last week, Poquoson Primary School celebrated the culmination of our One School, One Book event with an author visit from Laura Murray. She is the author of the Gingerbread Man is Loose series. The children were excited to learn about her new graphic novels coming out soon and to see the Gingerbread Man themselves. They were fabulous audience members and were very curious. Thank you to Mrs. Inslee for her hard work in these programs. She is bringing the joy of reading to Poquoson Primary School. As the warm weather is upon us, we are getting outside more often and enjoying the Riggins Pavilion. We have had many classes eat lunch together outside, enjoy a read-aloud story, and many have had their earned popsicle celebrations from our Valentine's drawing last month outside. Please make sure to have students wearing or bringing tennis shoes every day as we go outside for recess whenever it isn't raining. This Friday, we are raising awareness for Down syndrome by wearing blue and yellow and/or crazy socks. We recognize those with Down syndrome and celebrate how we are different and unique, and in what ways we are the same. Join us by wearing crazy socks, because socks are the shape of chromosomes. Parents should be starting to see information about upcoming field trips this spring. Next week, the first grade is going to the Virginia Aquarium, and in May, kindergarten will go to the zoo and second grade to Jamestown. Please make sure to be volunteer vetted if you would like to be a chaperone. Stay tuned for information about our end of quarter 3 celebration before spring break. We are looking forward to celebrating hard work and attendance in school. Next, from the elementary school. Poquoson Elementary School enjoyed the sounds of St. Patrick's Day yesterday with Mr. Tom Metz from Newport News Pipes and Drums playing the bagpipes at arrival. That's very cool. Our students have been representing Poquoson Elementary School well in our region with the Battle of the Books and Odyssey of the Minds PES times competing in regional challenges over the weekend. We also held great computer challenge tryouts and are looking forward to our students representing PES later this spring. Our school has enjoyed our One School, One Book choice titled Summer of the Woods, written by Virginia author Stephen K. Smith, who will visit PES this Friday. PES welcomed many guest readers during Read Across America Week to include men from around our community in the annual Real Men Read event, as well as students from Poquoson Middle School. Our PTO also celebrated reading during Read Across America Week by visiting classrooms with gifts of classroom book sets. We had Spring Picture Day and also held safety drills over the past month. We also welcomed the TRADOC Woodwinds Quintet from Fort Eustis for a school-wide musical performance. We have been very busy over the last few weeks and have been impressed by several weeks of our highest attendance rates since the start of the school year. We appreciate our family supporting student attendance so students can experience all of the exciting things happening at PES this spring. And then from the middle school, great things are happening at Poquoson Middle School. Last Thursday, PMS hosted the Night of the Arts and CTE Showcase. It was awesome to see the talents of so many students displayed on the stage in our hallways. A huge thank you is extended to the teachers for their hard work and dedication to make this night possible. Congratulations is also extended to the PMS Battle of the Books team for their third place finish last weekend in their competition. We are extremely proud of them. Congratulations is also extended to the PMS Odyssey of the Mind team for their third place finish in the regional competition last weekend. We look forward to cheering them on at the state competition on April 26th. We are also currently busy planning for next year. PMS school counselors hosted Rising Parent Information Nights last week and are currently conducting classroom lessons to review registration information from the student perspective with all 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students. And finally, Poquoson Middle School would like to extend congratulations to our 37 students that were inducted into the National Junior Honor Society, our 4 students that were selected for all Virginia Choir, and to our March Golden Bull Students of the Month. Hatteras Blink, 6th grade, Chloe Carpenter, 7th grade, and Rodney Johnson, 8th grade. And finally, from the high school, Poquoson High School is quickly wrapping up quarter 3 with lots of exciting things. Thank you to everyone for a successful completion of the end of course writing SOL this month, as it was hard work for all. Congratulations to our winter sport athletes as they dominated in postseason. Good luck to band and chorus as they go to assessment this week, and congrats to show choir as they wrap up their competition season as well. We look forward to an upcoming College Now informational night next month, and all preparations for the end of the year ramping up. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Maxwell?
Great. A long list today. Since the last meeting, I did get to attend the Gifted Education Advisory Committee meeting. That was a great meeting. Thank you to Ms. Montalvo for kind of heading that up. We got to review the draft revision for the policy updates, and I think there's some exciting changes and improvements to that program. I hope to be able to talk about more once we kind of finalize that draft. Also attended the safety meeting. I want to thank the SROs, the SSOs, the school administrators for attending. I repeat what Mr. Roberts said, but I think there's a lot of good things happening in that meeting, and I appreciate the opportunity to attend. Recognitions, again, I'll start with my preemptive recognition of what my fellow school boarders will say that I will have forgotten. Thank you to our special recognition, our congratulations to the Senior of the Month, Jude Purdy. Great job. I'm always amazed by the resumes that I hear being presented here. So we've got some outstanding kids here. Again, I don't apologize for not having all the names of everyone recognized tonight, but congratulations to the show choir and the all-state award winners, the swim team, track team representatives, the wrestling team state champs. So thank you to the CTE team for giving the presentations. That was great. It was great to see what we're doing in the schools. Thank you to the CT teachers for fostering those skills for our students. Congratulations on that recognition by the VDOE and recognizing our work here. Also thank you to the people who came in to give public comment. Special thank you to Miss Inslee for the one book program. It was a big hit in our household.
Yep, just to reiterate, I wanted to congratulate the Senior of the Month, Jude Prudy, the choir, the All-State Choir, Mr. DeVries, swim, track and wrestling, and the CTE efforts. And then really, I wanted to extend a thanks, a lot of thanks for the budget that are working in here, but I wanted to say thanks for the budget for the citizens of Poquoson. I know it's a tough ask. I know there's been a lot of chatter about assessments going up taxes, but in reality, it is a great investment. Investing in your community, investing in your students, it's something that that your community is desirable to move to, right? That's why the values of your property go up, and I think you'll see these investments pay off more. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing for the tax bottom line, but I just I think the citizens want to see it spent wisely, and I don't think there's a wiser choice than investing in your schools and your teachers. So I want to say thanks to the community.
Thank you. Mr. Claude?
Yes, I also have sort of a long list I started jotting down. I probably won't be able to read. But starting with Ms. Purdy, I want to thank you because every month we have these wonderful recognitions. And providing the certificates, taking the photos, all the work that you do with that, and I'm sure there are other folks involved, but thank you to all of you. Congratulations on Jude. I don't know how he goes to school because every club, every society, I mean, quite good. I know you're quite proud of him, and as you should be. And also, kind of in the same vein, Ms. Purdy also took photos at the Real Men Read that Mr. Lamaghi mentioned. I took part of that, and I really enjoyed it. It was great. I read to a class at the elementary school, education class, and then also Ms. Kaysen caught me at the elementary school and said, hey, would you like to read at the primary school to preschoolers? And I was glad to do it. The teachers, the students, all of it, it was a great experience. And they actually really seemed to enjoy, maybe they were just, they had some instruction beforehand, but they seemed to enjoy my reading. So I was happy about that. I want to thank Ashley for your presentation. As Chris has already mentioned, the CTE I just think is amazing in itself. Thinking back to my days at the high school, probably mentioned this before, we had industrial cooperative training. It was very small. You got a part-time job, and they did great with what they had and all, but this is just beyond anything I've seen, and it's very impressive. Working with New Horizons, and I know there are many others, but thank you for that, and thank you, Ms. Montalvo, as well on this, and I'd like to sing you happy birthday, but I don't think that would be appropriate. Mr. Roberts, thank you for all you're doing with recruiting, going to the job fairs, updating postings, grants. I just kept writing and writing. Also with the GPS, very impressed with that process and how the training's going, substitute drivers. Again, just fantastic job. Okay, let me see, what did I miss here? For the teams, congratulations, of course, as you've mentioned, all of them. I won't try to read them, but tonight it was just so impressive that we had to pull out additional chairs to seat the audience of family, friends, coaches, volunteers. We see these each month, as I said, but I just like to thank those who are behind the scenes, so to speak, the volunteers, sponsors, the staff that work with these teams, all those involved. It truly does take all of these folks together to make these teams a successful and individual success. I've never seen anything like it again. It is very impressive. So thank you to all of you. I actually think that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Jones?
A lot of repeats, but I think it's for all good reasons. A big congratulations to our Senior of the Month, Jude Purdy. our Virginia Honors Choir delegates, the swim team, the track, the wrestling, all the individuals and team accomplishments from our winter sports were very impressive. Thank you, Ms. Ide, for the CTE presentation and also for the 3 students. Love that. That was very interesting and very inspiring for future students to have those as an example as well. To our speakers who are no longer here, but who did come to speak, that is not an easy thing to do. And thank you to them for sharing those very serious concerns. I appreciate their time and efforts there. And lastly, on the budget, a big thank you to our CFO, Ms. Spence, as well as to echo Dr. Goodale's sentiments. Thank you to the community, to the work on the city side as well that I'm sure is to come. It's an important investment in our schools, and I hope accomplishing the goal that we all have, which is to, find some better pay, find some better benefits wherever we can for our teachers. Hopefully this budget will be a start at that. So thank you for that. And good luck to all of our spring sports at the high school, and I guess a little bit the middle school on the JV side as well, that I think are really kicking off this week.
Thank you. Mr. DeBose?
All right. Obviously, echo everybody's comments like we always do. Comment on CTE. Just really thankful that we continue to have that program. Coming from an industry where we rely heavily on programs like that to help bring up a new workforce is really, really good. So we need to continue to invest in that in all levels that we can turn around and do. Also attended Reelman Reed, another great event, as it always is every single year. It's really enjoyable to read to the students, doubly enjoyable when it's your kids as well. So appreciate Mrs. Bowles for helping pull all that together. She didn't tell me I was doing both schools, but that's okay. Also attended the Odyssey of the Mind competition on Saturday. And it wasn't completely said in AJ's update, but all 3 teams got first place: middle, elementary, middle, and high school. Absolutely amazing skits, all the structures, and this is basically the structure. We only had structure teams. Structures did amazingly well. My son is already bragging that the elementary school held more weight than the middle school and the high school, which was great. But absolutely amazing event. Those that don't know, there's an individual in Newport News, Kimberly Credite, who pulls together that every single year. She does both the regional and the state side of stuff, and she did an amazing job. And Poquoson helped tremendously with her as well, with doing some stuff. So kudos to those folks. And last little thing, everybody knows that we had daylight savings time, so we get to see the sun won't set before 7 o'clock until October. So good times coming. So thank you.
Okay, I guess I will reiterate all the other great things that people have talked about before me. I do want to make a special comment to Mr. Purdy. He is like all the seniors of the month are just amazing kids, and I always look forward to seeing like where they go, how high they fly. He again has an amazing resume. He's impressive. You should be proud. All the teams that came tonight, the Virginia Choir, the swim team, the track team, the wrestling team, all those kids put in a lot of really hard work, and it paid off. The coaches and volunteers that volunteered their time to help these kids and mentor these kids, special thanks to them. And then also the parents who, they do it, getting them to practice and making sure that they get things done around the house. Special thanks to the parents as well. Thank you, Ms. Spence, and all of your staff for putting together a budget that, I think you guys did an amazing amount of work, and thank you. Lastly, CTE, it was great to see the presentation. I do a lot of work in my other job with CTE, and I always kind of am happy when I come across someone from Poquoson who's in the CTE program. We need, in the industries that I'm in, we need these kids. We need future workforce development. It's vital to our existence, and I'm glad that these kids are getting real-world experience. So that's all that I have.
And of course, being last is ditto, echo, what are the other words that we use to repeat all of those things that have been said. But I want to end by thanking you as members of this board for not only your support of this budget and the process, but your advocacy, because it matters as you're out saying those things to the folks that you encounter in the grocery store and everywhere else, the importance of investing in our future, and that's what this is. All the things we've seen tonight, from CTE to sports to all of the programs and the great success that we love to celebrate, all happens through the funding process to make this available, and what you all do is make that happen. So I appreciate very much your support and advocacy for this budget. Thank you.
I guess moving on to item 11. Ms. Carroll, do we have any other material for board review?
No, we do not tonight.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to section 12, I'm going to make a call for a closed session. Let's see. Pursuant to section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, I move that this board go into closed meeting to consider the admission or disciplinary matters or any other matters that would involve the disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record concerning a Poquoson public school student. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Carroll, the vote?
Mr. Claude?
Aye.
Vice Chair DeBose?
Aye.
Dr. Goodell?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell? Aye. Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 6-0.
What's that?
Take some stuff.